Check it out, guys. The tripod is lost. It's in the car somewhere. So I've got this box taped to the big tripod, like the little spider pod, I call it. The little mini baby legs are lost. So it's kind of a blessing because everything's taped together. It's like ready to catch it because the camera looks like it's gonna fall out of this mount. But it's good because I'm literally way lower than I normally get. I never train this low, and this is like when I used to actually train with a formal instructor and sensei and at gyms and so forth. Growing up, the really good ones, they teach you how to get this low so you can have solid footwork. So this is actually a blessing that the tripod is lost for a day or so until I can order a new one or find the old one, because it's really making me feel what it's like to be low. And I'm not used to loading the weight, pushing off the rear foot, feeling the core, striking from the core from this low stance. So even my voice has changed standing this low. It's weird. Probably do it more often, like they force us to do in martial arts class as a kid. Literally hold this stance for minutes and minutes and minutes at a time. And your legs get huge, your quads get really big. And let's face it, nobody does leg day. So that's what we were doing there. It's just so good to do martial arts for so many reasons: health, self-defense, safety, mental wellness, self-discovery. But skipping leg day and having a great body is another part of it. Healing the body through motion. Again, in this like lower than I'd ever be stance, which is kind of crazy because it's really making me work the legs. Legs are already aching. Quads above the knees already aching, which is a good sign. Good hypertrophy. Just working on a little shake and bake here, head feints, actually slipping, dropping down, breaking down, kind of bumping, Lomachenko shuffles. Still working this very kind of defensive angle. Working some strikes, some offensive shots, but looking to set up each of them by completely moving my head out of the way first, or a strong block first and a strong block afterward, and or moving my head out of the way afterward. So don't want to just sit there and be, it's like, yeah, I could do that all day. But what am I training myself to do? Literally training myself to strike something and not be prepared the split second afterward. Training my body to go to sleep or blink or think about anything other than what it should, which is punch recovery and the continuation of that motion in the context of self-defense, unarmed combat. Working this little slip jab, so we're not just keeping the rear foot planted and stepping in and out with the perfect jab. We're also stuck in the pocket in a bad situation, and we're slipping out of the way this way and the other way as well. Slip both ways and pull counters. And best thing to do is to pull counter and then mix that with a pivot and change direction and footwork. There's so much you can do defensively to set up offensive opportunities. You really start to deconstruct the most violent human behavior, which is fighting. There becomes a science and a beauty to it, and you can really master those angry emotions, both in other people and yourself. And that's what this art is about on every level. So, don't tell me I'm alone over here. Get in this low stance with me. Squat down low and just hang out here for a few minutes before you do anything. Work on defense and just stance. You don't even have to throw the hands. It's nice to bump around a little bit so you load the weight on either foot so you can really feel the weight dropping in here into the belly, because that's where you want it. I mean, ultimately you want to feel the legs and then the top of the legs, I would say the quads. Really feel the quads, feel the quads, feel the glutes, feel the calves, feel the feet. That's why we're doing this slowly. It's So we're not just generating power from here. We can take that impact point and, there is no more we can generate here, and start to push off the rear foot, twist on the front hip, push on the rear leg, make this one solid structure going into the ground. And it's so important I talk about that rear foot leverage. That's where I really think one of my coaches at Freddie Roach, really great guy, my buddy Mario, he really taught me that. Just constantly have my rear heel up, constantly have leverage, constantly have power in that rear leg. So you see now it's bouncing. The second that rear leg moves, it's like a spring. It's a spring action. So it's just really fast, precise motions that happen by pushing off the ground and pushing with the front pads of the feet, keeping the heels up just a tiny bit, keeping the spine out in this kind of wrestling position, pitched back, elbows in, fingers closed together, eyes open, teeth closed, shoulders up, just feeling the weight sinking into our core here. We can strike, we can move laterally. And again, it's giving us energy, even if we're doing it super low, which is creating great strain on the legs, which is a good thing. It's still giving us energy because we're not using muscular force. We're using structure. We're using this bouncy dance. It's like basketball. That's why you see Sean O'Malley and these other guys. They're timing fighters in the ring, and then they start doing the basketball motion because it really is like that. The same as when you dribble around somebody, fake them out one way and go the other. It's mastering emotion, using athleticism, and using this bounciness and springiness in the step. Even if we're not taking a step forward, and I've had coaches say that you should literally step in with every punch, but that's not true. There's sometimes your feet won't move at all when you punch. Just punch from where you are. That having been said, you always want to have that feeling that you're stepping in, that feeling that the punch is coming from the ball of the foot, from the butt, from the bottom middle of this box. Those points down there, these sacred geometric points in the middle of our body, the total kind of spiritual, physical center, where the umbilical cord, where the nourishment, when we're a fetus, our center in every way, our deepest core center. But here we're talking about fighting. It's as it pertains to balance and anything physically, really. I found this when I did demolition, when I did construction. Sometimes you're hammering a nail into a wall, some simple task like that, or moving a hose, something which requires great strength and power, but you're not delivering the action as well as you can. And the second I would focus on my core, I would nail that hammer, I would hammer that nail in, or I would kind of, whatever it was, crush the concrete, whatever we were doing, rip up the grass. It was, you moving from the center, moving from the core, just thinking about it, not visualizing, but actually going in there and feeling and centering yourself in these core muscles. It's what's going to provide this power in martial arts, this stability, and this power which is going to be greater than others have because they're just focused on structure, and you're going to actually be focused on a greater level of energy and intent, and this kind of breath energy, coordinating everything, the breath, the intent, the motion. Again, giving us energy. That's the idea here. We're not chipping away with the shoulders. We're using our bottom two shoulders. These feel like the shoulders. We're just forgetting that everything above the belly button exists. We're just feeling like we're hanging out in the legs and the quads. It's all I'm feeling right now. You're dead to me. Anything from the belly button up, you're dead to me. Just totally alive, like water. Everything melting, feeling even the air. I know this sounds crazy. The area surrounding my body down here, feeling the area around my body like it's moving, like it's, and we do these goofy exercises, to kind of like show different ways that the body feels, but they're really profound. And fighters like Floyd Mayweather talk about this pulling one shoulder back or pushing off one foot. This really subtle stuff these are force multipliers, and the